In this short demonstration, I would like to show you the steps I would take in case I would have to draw a surface that, as you can see, is at an angle and also has in one area a flat edge and then an arced edge. And as you can see, this arced edge also is at an angle. This looks quite complicated, however, is in terms of construction quite simple. So let's go ahead and I will, in this case, now use actually the perspective grid tool. So I always have my vanishing points, so I do not have to use the guidelines anymore. So first thing I will do, I will just create myself a small box, because into this box I have to create that object like this. Okay, good. Let's zoom in a little bit and let's draw this one down. Okay, there. And okay, so let's show this again. I will focus first on the small surface that actually comes straight up, and I will put this actually in here, so inside my object. I go the distance up I need, then to the vanishing point and straight up, and there I have that surface. Okay, good. This is now somewhat at an angle. Let me actually undo this, because I would have drawn this a little bit too much at an angle. There, okay, good. So it is somewhat at an angle, and let's say maybe here. And now I will draw from there to there a line, and then from there to there I will draw a line. Okay, good. So now, as you can see, we have constructed also this surface. But in my drawing it's flat, and as you can see in the small photo, it is slightly arced. And then this is also slightly arced and also at an angle. So I will put in the surface first, for example, like this. Okay, so let's do it this way. Number one and number two. Okay, good. That's perfect. So how do I now figure out actually how to arc the surface? This is actually not very difficult. There are certain tips or steps we can take. So somewhere here will be a midpoint. We have to find this midpoint first. So let's do this via diagonals. Okay, I will use actually red for this moment there, because these lines were very close to each other, and there. And then the midpoint is roughly there. Okay, so this is this point here, kind of like where the arc has its biggest part. And now I need to figure out, well, how do I arc this one back? And I can make use of a line to the vanishing point, because with this line done, as you can see, I actually also have my front and my back corner. And then I can draw actually an arc through these 3 points. And there we have the front part. Not only rounded, but we also have it rounded at an angle. This is actually what's important about it. So we then go ahead and maybe do We don't really necessarily need to do a new drawing. I will actually go ahead and with a little bit more pressure draw over this one more time. There. Okay, and then we have this line there. This is thicker. This is actually an edge there. Okay. Then from there to there, we have a thick line. Here this goes straight down, there this goes straight down. Also this is a straight edge and this is a straight edge. Okay, and now you will see here in the back area, I have to see from the view I have, what do I see? So actually this is the only product edge I would see. Perfect. But as seeing kind of like the mesh lines is a little bit, not seeing the mesh lines, feeling really the object surface is kind of tricky. So some mesh lines really will be very, very helpful. So what I will do now is, well, make use of my trick with the diagonals cut each other. You see here we created a box. This actually cut here, and then if I go down, it cuts it there. And then when I go to the vanishing point, it cuts this line. And then if I go straight up, you see it cuts this line. And then this line to there later I can connect. And so how do I find actually this upper one? Well, I can continue this line straight up until I cut this edge, and then from there to the vanishing point, draw a line, and you see where I cut this other edge. So now I have actually the points to create also my mesh lines a little bit more accurately. Number one and number two. And number 3 here over the red one. Perfect. See, helps a little bit. Now to make this even a tick better, ideally maybe another mesh line on this part. So how do I do this? Well, let's say here at this midpoint I would like to do it. And I will select red here as well. So from there, I draw a line to the vanishing point. And you see it cuts this other line. But I don't really know where this red line would be on this part, because this is slightly arced. So what I will do is the following. You see here, I draw a line to this edge, and then draw a line back, maybe like there, and let's see, from here I can draw a line there. So this line in the middle part, that is actually where the, or is it? No, it's not. This is actually not correct. Wow. So, zip. Let's undo this for a second. So, let's say, we can do it this way. So, where this line goes down. See that? Okay. So, then from there, I can go to there. And then I can go up. And you see roughly where this actually hits. Okay, perfect. So now actually you see from this gray line, because this is actually at the center. I drew a line down, went to there, went up, went to there. There's my small square. So I identified this point. But I do not really know where is now this point actually on this blacker line, not a big issue. So from here now, I can draw a line to the vanishing point. And you see then it cuts the black line. I can do the same here to the vanishing point. It doesn't really cut anything yet. And then where this red line cuts the thicker black line, I draw my line over to the other vanishing point. And there. Now you see number 1 and number 2. So now I could go ahead. Let's zoom in a little bit more, and this is going to be a really flat line, as you can see. So I might have to find the correct angle. Yeah, maybe like this. This looks pretty good. Okay. So, and then this secondary arc, because it will be much flatter than this arc up here, and then that in relationship to this linear line will show you that the surface up here is very bent, and down here it is actually flat. And that's a way how you can construct a surface that's not only rotated, but for example has kind of like a rounded edge. Now on this rotated surface there's also a small opening, basically where this button can go in. So let's actually focus on how we could draw this first. First we can actually go ahead and maybe bring this one in. This is actually now the other arc on top. So let's see if we can. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Let's try a little bit stronger. Okay. So how do we now decide maybe the offset? I'll go on to another layer. And I will do a new line. And the main reason for that is then maybe here in the front area, I try to see maybe how much this arcs and the distance. So maybe like this. Yeah. Tick to flat, so maybe a little bit like this. Okay, this feels a little bit more parallel. This is now an area where you can construct things more precisely, but at one point you also have to kind of like start at being able to approximate proportions without too much construction. So this area is good. So how do we now do the this line as an offset? So basically along here, because we don't really have a vanishing point there right now. So how could we do this? Well, can go ahead and, for example, say this is there, and you see there's a minimal minimal rotation. So let's try this one out. First, I zoom out a little bit because maybe I can demonstrate to you one element. So this one is rotated, and I draw this at a longer angle there, and I bring this one in. Ah, perfect. It does it even. You see, these two lines converge. So somewhere up here I have another vanishing point. Now maybe let's say this vanishing point I have there. So I can use this vanishing point now as a little helper. So I draw one line down there, let's say along this way, and that's now actually my offset. So this point I would like to perfectly mirror over to the other side. So how do I do this? Again, there we can make use of our mirroring techniques. So there's one corner point there, this line cuts this line. So if I continue, there is a point, and then if I go to the other corner, it cuts this line somewhere there. So I found actually the other point I need, and then from this vanishing point to there, a small line. That's now the other edge. No? Perfect. Okay, so here we have this distance. How could we maybe mirror this over to the other part? So to be able to do this, I might have to find actually a midpoint. I only need one diagonal because I have already one line through the center, so there. And this point was very necessary because then here you can see I can draw this line. Now this is actually a mirror axis line to the left vanishing point. And I'm curious now, so this is the point I need to figure out where it is on the other area. So let's see what happens if I connect these two. This maybe goes to there. What happens if I do it this way? So from there to there. Let's see, I might maybe have to add a diagonal. I'm going to draw this diagonal actually reddish, so the lines will get less confusing. And then from there to there, yeah, so this actually works. So you see the diagonal is cut there, which means if I create a diagonal this way, and so here, there's that other diagonal. To the new vanishing point. So for example there. And zooming in, you see this point now we have there. I can then actually use the perspective tool, draw a line, and this is actually now kind of like this line. Wait, no, this line. Okay, perfect. Yeah, and then I can go ahead. Now I have 1, 2, and 3, and simply sketch this one in with a little bit of pressure, and then the actual opening would be only there. A little bit of pressure there, and then the missing line there. Okay, you see, one very easy way, whoops, to create a flat square around the edges, and then we can project a surface that's a little bit more inside and kind of like it's like an offset actually to it. So how could I now create a box that will help creating kind of like this circle into it? So let's see, maybe for the moment I actually turn this one off. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. And I would like to point your attention to what I'm going to do now. You see here, if I draw a line, and from there I draw a line to the vanishing point, there is a square actually. You see, if I go ahead and draw a diagonal from there to there, this diagonal, the blue one, is now actually perpendicular to this line. And this is insanely helpful for understanding the button. So you see I reconstructed another box. And let's do the same here and there. And then the diagonal, and there, and there. Dang. Okay. And you see here it's a little bit at a different angle. Okay. So let's bring this one back in. Try to see what now would be the best way to demonstrate this. I will adjust the transparency a little bit because now we have to, yeah, there. We can draw a line from here to here through our object, and you will see it actually cuts the left and the right part of my opening. And this will be somewhat similar to this small part here. You also see this is nearly parallel, and then this sticks a little bit out. So really pay attention to to the details. Okay, so how do we do the rest now? Let's see. So there we can see the line and the line. So first we can draw a very tiny blue line as an offset. This is actually slightly off, and then this is now the part maybe where we can start eyeballing this a little bit. So this actually goes to there. This actually, let's put this one up. Yeah. And then there we draw a small black line up. Okay. And I go to the back and I try to get this angle correctly there and there. So what I have here right now is basically the left and the right midpoint. There. Okay. So we said this is somewhat nearly parallel, so because it's such a tiny offset, it's easier to simply say, well, then we have a line there, and let's pick this angle, and there we have a line there. Okay. And here, okay. And there will be kind of like a midline as well there. So plus minus there. Okay, a little bit wider. Now keep in mind the part at the end is slightly arced, and here now it comes. We have to draw those corners. So this angle, I go up, go to there. Let's pick this angle and to there. And now we need to figure out what's the thing in between. So there and there. Let's move this one roughly half the amount. So I try to eyeball the direction there. Okay. And now up here I can draw actually an arc. Whoops. There. And let's draw this one down. And let's ink this a tick more. Okay. So that worked for that part. So let's try to do the same at the front. So here I pick this line, go to there. And this is not necessarily really parallel now, it's a little bit taller. So I maybe try to draw this one a little bit taller, like this. And let's use the guide for the other one there and go to there and draw this one a little bit up. But I don't really know where is the end. So I can use my perspective tool and I go to the left vanishing point and draw a line. And there it ends. So, for example, this would go to there and this one would go to there. Now the only thing that is missing is actually the arc. You see this feels kind of wrong. This has to be somewhat arc, but also at an angle somehow. So here we know there's a midpoint. And this is a really tiny detail, so this is going to be tough to do really good, but I still try this out. I make a diagonal on this angled surface because then I have this point, I have the new diagonal, and probably there is that point. I draw in also the mesh line, and then let's try this one out. Based on the angle, this might actually everything we only could see. So let's go to there and there, so maybe there. Okay, and then from this point to there, there's the other mesh line. Okay, maybe press a little bit harder on the contour line. And then put this one in. Okay. Let's try to take a look at the rest, and you see plus minus this works not too bad. The sides are actually flat, and as you can see here, this is slightly arced. So to do this really accurate, I probably then can take let's say here I do this in red, so maybe this point there, and then a small arc, and maybe here I select this point and a small arc, and maybe there and a small arc. Then this part will be so tiny currently, it doesn't make sense to draw, and then there we have this actually. And this also might actually go around and go down. And you see this gives then actually a little bit more of an arc feeling. And this arc is currently too small, so it will probably be more maybe something like this. Yeah. But the process pretty much is the same. And again, this is one of these examples why so often I say try to draw big. Really, with pen and paper, make use of pen pressure. And you can draw on multiple sheets. If you have a light table, it's also pretty useful, because then you can easily put another sheet over it, do over sketches or so, try something out without by accident making a drawing too dense or so. And now it's kind of like nice when you have different sheets of paper, and then, for example, you could hide most of your construction drawings and only pay attention to kind of like your final drawings. I would like to show you one variation to what we just did, and let me pull this one back in. Okay, there. Good. So this is what we have. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. The alternative approach works kind of like with, let's say, cross-section planes. I will go back to blue, and here if we draw a line down, and from there we draw a line, and I draw a line, and I draw a line, you see there is kind of like a square. But maybe I rather go from here to here, so this is a tiny bit bigger. There and there. Okay. And I can also here from there to there, for example, create a diagonal. Okay, so now this line, this is not 100% correct what I'm doing right now, but for example, I extend this a little bit, and also here I extend this a little bit. It's like a parallel line. And then I go to there and draw a line. So for example here now I could go ahead and say, well, there, go down, look there and an angle. Okay, so you see this actually looks like the cross section of that button. And if we zoom in here, we could say, yeah, so this maybe might be the arc, and then this goes to there. Okay, we can do the same exactly to the back as well. I will create a new layer, pick a different color, and let's see, where is this? So that is actually there and there and this there. And let's see, the angle we have here, it's kind of like the center part. Now if I come from the vanishing point and draw a line, you see it hits actually that green box at one point. So this is actually now the same height point. And same here, go over and there. Okay. No, wait, that was too low. It's actually there. Good. So these two lines I can connect. So there and there. You see that? Okay. Also down here I can draw this line down, then I can use the diagonal of this front diagonal and plus minus block this one up. And let's go to here. This is the front part there, and this arcs in a little bit, so maybe a little bit like this. And then let's select this angle we have there and go maybe to this distance, there, there, and there. There, perfect. So, and then we later create an arc. Let me make this arc actually with red. There you can see actually now the button. So I created this button in this case with a front, a mid, and then I would have to create the back plane. And then onto these planes, I drew sides, or I guessed side views of the button. So that's kind of like an alternative way. And actually, it seems that this was actually we're pretty close, but this one is a little bit tinier, so the angle I think is better. But what seems to work better is guessing inside this type where actually these points are. You can see here, and this is not 100% correct. Okay,